In late 1990, Covell Matthews Histon Partnership, Architects, completed Savannah House at Ocean Village, Southampton for Rosehaugh Associated Ports Developments plc, a joint venture company of Shearwater Property Holdings and Associated British Ports. The building was designed by project architect Gordon Shackell. Savannah House was named after a 320-ton wooden paddle steamer, which became the first vessel to attempt to cross the North Atlantic using steam power. The Savannah was built in New York in 1818. She left America on her pioneering voyage on the 24th of May 1819, arriving in Liverpool on the 20th of June. The trip took 27 days 15 hours, excluding time differences, but the engines were in steam for only 80 hours. The steamer was wrecked on Long Island in 1821. Savannah House is a three-storey, L-shaped, speculative, 25,000 square foot net lettable office building of 6 office suites and a central core tower which houses the main reception, access staircase, toilets and feature glass-backed lift which overlooks the Marina through the glazed curtain walling. Emergency fire escape stairways are provided at the ends of the 2 office wings. Savannah House was the first of the new office buildings to be completed at Ocean Village Office Park, shortly followed by Meridian's Cross offices next door. Both these buildings were sited north of the special water feature designed by landscape architects Derek Lovejoy and Partners, who were responsible for the extensive hard and soft landscaping around the buildings and car parks. With the assistance of Buro Happold, consulting engineers of Bath, Savannah House straddles a massive quay wall of the now filled-in inner dock. Piled foundations were carefully designed to avoid both this obstruction and that of the foundations of a previously demolished old quayside warehouse. Buro Happold consulting engineers acted as structural and mechanical and electrical services consultant engineers. Their advice led to features of the building, including the need for external brise-soleil solar shading and deep brick piers to reduce the solar heat gain. Internally, there is provided full access raised flooring for electrical, telecom and data distribution for computers, freestanding uplighters, perimeter heating and full mechanical ventilation with the option of adding air conditioning at a later stage. The building was heavily articulated with generous overhanging eaves, white metal fascias and soffits which had to be site-crafted, particularly at the awkward junctions, deep brick piers and brise-soleil. These elements have been picked out in white or light colours, whilst the main wall cladding and windows have been darkened in grey to emphasise the depth of the elevations. A strong diagonal emphasis was adopted for the core tower, with a pointed main staircase on the external corner and a diagonal rear entrance from the car park behind. The building was finished to a very high standard and included white perforated metal suspended ceilings, grey stained and varnished ash timber joinery, brass ironmongery and handrails, luxury carpeting to the offices, and solid granite flooring to the reception. Further points of interest included metal finials and a Weathervane with a gold-leafed Shearwater seabird instead of a cockerel, which was based on the client's logo. The Weathervane was designed by Shackell and incorporated the seabird logo of Shearwater Property Holdings. Clockmakers Smiths of Derby crafted the design using brass and stainless steel finished in black gloss. The Weathervane arrow and cardinal points were gilded in 23-carat gold leaf. The Environment Secretary, Nicholas Ridley, visited Ocean Village on the 12th of May 1989 and laid the foundation stone. After lowering the engraved Portland stone into position, Mr. Ridley was given a guided tour of the waterfront community, which was breathing new life into 75 acres of once derelict dockland. Mr. Ridley described Ocean Village as a large, imaginative and very exciting development. It was, he said, a real indication of the buoyancy and prosperity of the local area. Later, in 1989, Savannah House was topped out by television and radio personality Valerie Singleton, who hoisted a small spruce tree to the top of the building, assisted by David Shaw, Director of Shearwater Property Holdings. In front of the entrance stands a piece of rusty steel sculpture designed by Jane Ackroyd, called the Three Rings. This was unveiled by Neil Kinnock, Labour MP and leader of the opposition. The building contract was let to Mears Contractors, a subsidiary company of Edmund Nuttall. The contract had its fair share of problems and disputes during construction, ranging from British Steel delivery delays to extensive storm damage on the 25th of January 1990, which killed 39 people in the UK. This extended the construction period to 95 weeks. The construction cost was £2.75 million. By August 1991, Savannah House was sold by Rosehaugh Associated Ports Developments plc to Danish Property Investment Fund, Cedar Home and Voss, for £4.35 million. Savannah House was let prior to completion to international chartered accountants and business advisors PriceWaterhouseCoopers, whose Southampton operation had been based at the quay since 1989, another Ocean Village office building adjacent to the Royal Southampton Yacht Club. The company now worked from Savannah House as well as the quay. Cedar Home and Voss had been involved in property investment in Denmark since 1973 and created the largest investment portfolio in that country. They had only recently started making overseas acquisitions. Also by 1991, Shearwater Director David Shaw said the sale of Savannah House within a month of its occupation by PriceWaterhouseCoopers clearly demonstrates Ocean Village's strength as a leading South Coast office location, both in terms of its attractiveness as a place to work and to invest. It was the waterfront community's first sale to an overseas company. Ocean Village is the country's largest mixed private sector waterfront scheme, a showpiece office, shopping, leisure and residential development, attracting more than 3 million visitors annually. It has spearheaded the redevelopment of the waterfront in Southampton since its beginning in the summer of 1986.